Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Rocket Buzz.
Hi guys, welcome. My name is Matthew Jordan, and I am your host for the Rocket Buzz. That is our weekly space news information. Oh my gosh, I'm hearing a loud noise.
We get some feedback.
I don't hear anything.
Oh.
Who's
Nope.
got it playing? Because I'm hearing it incredibly loudly in my ear.
I'm hearing nothing. That might be you.
That's you. You have a window open.
Yeah, that's all you, man.
It couldn't have been me.
It's a good way
it
to
is
start
me.
show.
My bad.
Yes, yes, it is a space news information.
This is our first show. Sorry.
Brought to you by the
It's a
team
thingy.
at Next Horizons Spaceflight.
Next Horizons Spaceflight coming at you. I'm Matthew
Bunch of
Jordan.
amateurs.
I am the lead producer of written content at Next Horizons Spaceflight. I'm here with Matt Cutshaw. He is our lead organizational manager of the whole thing. Say hi, Matt.
What's going on, guys? Yep, the Next Horizons Spaceflight has been something that's been going on for quite a few years now, and I'm really happy to see it grow to where it is now. We're all very blessed and fortunate to be able to cover this stuff and be able to do what we do, be able to go out there and bring you guys the great content that we do. And yeah, so with that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mr. Kegel. He's my right-hand man here.
Hey, how's it going? I'm mostly a photographer. I think I've written like 2 articles. Not much of a writer. More of a technical guy and enjoy taking photos of rockets.
Excellent. And we also have with us Mr. Kyle Montgomery.
Hello.
Down the darkness.
I stalk rockets and boats.
He stocks rockets and boats. He is our port pirate. He takes care of anything coming into the port. He is awesome. And then we also have Mr. Derek Wise. He is our producer here. He's making all this happen for us today.
Hello, hello. I'm a pretty recent addition to the team. My main focus has been video and photography, so I'm excited to get this live show going.
Absolutely. Now, normally what we want to do with this show is bring you the news and information of what's happened in the past week, what's going to be happening in the next week, and then give you some other information like having some kids stuff and things like that. But for our very first episode, we really just wanted to let you, our audience, get to know us. So I'm going to start with Mr. Cutshaw here. Matt, what got you into space photography? What got you into doing Next Horizons Spaceflight?
It kind of started a long time ago. I've always been into it. I'm actually from Oklahoma, so moving here, living in Orlando, we actually used to see the launches from Orlando all the time. You just see a white speck just kind of going in the sky. And it wasn't here until recently I actually started going to the coast to actually see all the launches. I was very fortunate to be able to be accepted to the NASA Social for the Parker Solar Probe. So that was actually my very first up close launch, and it was really great. My son was at the hotel with my mom, and they actually got to see the launch as well. What was really significant about that launch was our names were on the Parker Solar Probe. So me and him both got to watch our names get launched into space at the same time. So that tops it, for the whole thing for me. I mean, I don't think there'll ever be a launch that's more special to me than that. So, and then from there, it just kind of spiraled into, the huge passion and love of what it is now. And like I stated before, you know what I mean? It's just very, very fortunate and blessed to be able to do what we do. And I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we are passionate about this and that we love it very much.
Absolutely. And what has been your favorite launch to partake in, to participate in, to capture?
For 2020 was definitely...
I would say, yeah, let's go for 2020, yeah.
For 2020?
You can do both, 2020 and overall.
Well, favorite is definitely Parker Solar Probe. But for 2020, if we're just talking about 2020, is definitely going to be definitely the heavy launch. I've never been so close to a launch in my life. That was unbelievable to be. What did we say it was? 1.54 miles away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your clothes were literally shaking. It was just insane. Like that was probably my favorite launch of 2020. Next favorite one was probably the Sirius launch, just because my remotes came out so good from that launch. And I've had this focus troll that has been following me around for the longest time, that I've had trouble with my focus, and I haven't been able to get sharp
Keep your
images. So
focus.
yeah, exactly. So now that I got really good remotes from that launch, I kind of now have a base of what to do and what not to do. So yeah, definitely the Sirius and the Heavy launch for sure.
Absolutely. All right, now we're going to turn over here to Mr. Kegel.
Okay.
Steven, how did you get into space launch photography?
I'm gonna make this short and sweet because I'm not much about talking about myself. So basically, I grew up here in Florida and the Space Coast pretty much all my life. I lived in Arizona and England at one time, and that was about it. But pretty much all through elementary, middle school, high school, and now I'm a 40-year-old man. And I've always been, the shuttle program. Grew up around that. Had family that worked on there. Used to take the family trips, and when they would let, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but you'd be able to take your family to KFC, and they have picnics, and you get to kind of explore some of the areas. So I was always fascinated, a kid from that. And then later on got into photography. And that was pretty much when SpaceX started launching around here. And then the last 3 years from a buddy Steve-O, I got really into photography. Before I just had a cheap little, digital camera and then my phone. And then I stepped up to a DSLR and so on. And then the bug gets you.
Yeah, it sinks its fangs in pretty good.
And then it's just the money crazy. Everything's so expensive.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a very expensive hobby.
Everyone here but me has felt that.
Lowball.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Keegs, what has been your favorite launch of 2020? Let's go back the past year.
I'd say it's a launch. It was one that kind of blew up, but it was an awesome launch. Starship, SS9, 8? Sorry, 8.
Yeah, SN8.
Yeah. That was amazing.
We didn't even see.
That was.
we didn't get any, but watching that video stream was
insane.
It was thrilling.
Yeah, I had to pick my mouth up off the floor personally. It was just the whole time, and then I'm looking at myself you have to watch this. You have to watch this. It was awesome.
And then I guess the live one would be same thing as Matt, Heavy, and then also Crew One.
Yeah, Crew One. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, Crew One was an awesome launch as well. All right, Mr. Montgomery, Kyle, how did you get into the whole taking pictures of things that go into space?
Well, I moved down here 2 or 3 years ago. I think I went 8 or so launches before I bought a camera. Then I bought a camera and I photographed every launch since then. I think I'm on launch 42 now.
Okay. That's launch number 42. Excellent. And what's been your favorite event of 2020? Whether
That's
that was
the heavy.
the heavy. Everyone's all about the heavy, and that's the one I missed out on. I was there for one of the aborts, but
there's a consensus here with the heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And Mr. Wise, Mr. Producer, sir,
all right.
How did you get into this, man?
Now I am from Pennsylvania, and so for a couple of years I would watch the live streams. Just watching the launches happen, it was definitely SpaceX that started to get me into rocket launches, and with especially the landings from the Falcon Heavy launch. That was so cool to watch on a stream. And so a little over a year ago, I moved down to Orlando, and so I saw a couple launches from here about 50 miles out, and that's pretty cool. Even from 50 miles, especially nighttime, you can see it light up the sky. If you're really lucky and the cloud covers just right, sometimes you can hear a little bit of the rumble way after. But then going to in-flight abort this year, that was it. I was hooked. I had no clue. I wasn't involved with the rocket launch photography community at all at that point. And I got there, and this was, of course, before COVID. So there were so many people all crowded along the water, right near the Sands Museum there. And we watched it go, and it exploded. And from that point on, it was like, okay, there's a launch. And every launch that I've been able to make it to, I've been coming out for.
Absolutely. That's how that bug happens, man. It's quick. Once it sinks its teeth in, you have to be out there for all the launches.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I get to work close enough that I don't live on this space close, but I work like in Melbourne, so I can kind of witness them from there. Personally, I will say, I got into the space reporting business, I guess I'd call it, because I don't take the pictures, but the space reporting business, it kind of came naturally to me. I got into space stuff early on, took all Florida kids go on a field trip in their second grade to Kennedy Space Center. And that's what kind of got it for me. And then about the time 1992, 93, they were putting out the 25 years anniversary of the Apollo landings. And there was a wonderful series that was done that was called Moonshot. And it was based on a book by Alan B. Shepard and Deke Slayton. And that book really got me into the history of the space program. So many years later, I've gone through a few different things. I went to college a couple times for things that are definitely not space related. Finally decided I was going to get a bachelor's in history because it was the fastest thing to get after I got out of the Navy. I got my bachelor's in history, but I ended up every paper had something to do with space. If I could make it to do with space, it had something to do with space. And this kind of told me something about myself. And for my master's degree, I did a master's in space studies and kind of looked at the ins and outs of a lot of things happening at one time. Both organizational management within the space industry, as well as, how do rockets actually work, and how do we figure out how to put things in orbit and how to make everything work in celestial mechanics. So it was a lot of fun. And then I met Keegs working at Disney World. And a few
magical place in the world.
Yeah, I know. It was so magical back then. It's not quite magical anymore from what I hear, but I met Keegs working there. We remained friends, and he said he was getting involved in something called Next Horizons Spaceflight, and I was interested, so I talked to him about it, and he said, well, send us a sample. And I sent a sample, and he said, hey, can you just write that into this web page? And so that from then on, I've been trying to cover every launch. It's kind of copy paste sometimes when it comes to the Starlink launches, but
Yeah, another 60 satellites.
It's just another 60 satellites. This brings them to where they at now, 1,400. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, so what's your favorite launch this year?
My favorite launch, personally, I was actually present for my very first launch being actually on base was Mars 2020. And that was my favorite. Just being able to be very close, came kind of close with not Falcon Heavy. The Enroll 44.
Yes, the Delta IV Heavy.
Yeah, I came close. I got to see an abort, and that was fun.
I'll mix up the favorite launch. I mean, of course, Enroll 44. I'd say that tops the list for me. Enroll 108 and Enroll 101 are both up there for me, because Enroll 101, that was my first launch being on base for being able to set remotes. And so that was a crazy cool experience. I was so happy with the way that my remotes turned out, despite losing a lens there. It was like, I feel like that's a great first launch on base. And then 108, because daytime return to launch site landing. And I was really, really happy with both the video and the photo I got there from the landing, passing by the American flag right by the press site at the VAB. That was those are all up there with the favorite launch,
which is in the intro if y'all watch the intro.
Yes.
Absolutely, and I recommend watching that as frequently as possible.
Which I'm going to cut in here. I'm going to cut in here real quick. So people that are watching on YouTube, people that are watching on Facebook Live, just so if you guys are just joining us, this is going to be a weekly show that we're doing, where we're going to be highlighting the week's launches and everything else going on. Right now, this is our first episode. We're just kind of going over what 2020 was all about. We introduced ourselves, but going forward, we will be introducing and going over the launches. So, yes,
not just launches, but any
news in general.
Events.
Yeah.
Space events, celestial events. I like to focus in on the politics side a little bit myself, and space policy.
And then the audience, you guys can interact in the chat. You can also, we have a phone number with a voicemail. You can leave messages with any comments, questions.
Yep.
We might play them on the air and then talk about whatever you say.
And that's going to be every week. Now, 2 sections that we are going to be doing is...
Actually, who's got that number to put out there real quick?
Yeah, who does have that number? We'll go over that. We have 2 different sections that we're going to be doing. One section is going to be will be covered by Zach, who's not here right now. Zach Shaw, he's a little under the weather right now. He's going to join us, but he's going to be going over OTD, which is going to be on this day, going over spaceflight history, what happened in spaceflight history on the particular day of the week. And then I will be hosting, which I'm calling the Kid Space. And what that's going to be is a STEM education segment where I will be going over STEM activities that you could be able to do with your children, whether it's making slime or making any kind of, STEM activities like that. It's going to be different every week.
We're going to make a volcano?
Yeah, or volcano or whatever it is, just so that you guys can get your kids involved, because, Next Horizons Spaceflight is, a lot of adults like it, but we want to encourage kids to come on here and really see what's going on with spaceflight as well, because they are the future. So, if we can get them inspired and say, hey, wow, that's really cool, then we're going to have a really good, solid future with them. Who knows, maybe we might inspire the next engineer, just by what we're doing here. That's kind of the hope. So, so OTD and the Kid Space is what we will be having every week as well.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for what the show is going to be and for getting that news out there. And that for me is always like the like I was saying last night in our meeting, that's going to be the focus of the show, is going to be the news aspect and making sure that everybody, all of our photographers have time to show their talents and show everything that they're able to put out there.
And maybe the next show, Darth Kyle down there, it won't be so dark.
That's true story, Darth Kyle.
Why are you so dark, Kyle?
I blame Huntsville.
Yes, Kyle is on. He is on. I guess on location in Huntsville tonight.
I'll be more on location when I go to Pensacola tomorrow.
True story.
And the phone number that you can call in and leave a voicemail at is now on.
That actually made it better, turning lights off behind me.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go. There you go. And just
smiling face.
Yeah.
Bad automatic camera.
And just
the DSLR up.
And just every week, you can call that phone number, leave a voicemail if you have a question or anything you would like for us to go over every week. Parents, I'm encouraging you to have your kids call the number, leave us a voicemail if they have a question that they want to have answered, even if it's just the simplest question. I really encourage them to call the number, have them leave us a voicemail. We're more than happy to, answer the question, and we will answer the question live, of course, while we're doing the show. So, and yes, the calls will be screened. So, so any kind of inappropriate, messages, obviously, that we won't be covering those, but, that's what the number's for.
And same thing, let us
know. My mom in the chat is pointing out that I'm tired. It's been like 26 hours without sleep at this point, I think.
You need some sleep, baby.
Kyle the machine. Kyle the machine.
When you call in, feel free to ask questions as well as talk about what your favorite launches have been. What are you most looking forward to this year and in the future? What space events? Share what you want to say, and maybe we'll talk about that.
Yep.
Oh, look, the number's on the screen. Aren't we fancy?
Absolutely. Yo, Matt.
Man.
Matt, what are you looking forward to most coming up this year, man?
This year, I know it's probably not going to happen this year. Well, actually, two things. Vulcan, I'm really looking forward to Vulcan. That's going to be really phenomenal. Vulcan is going to be just incredible. But I'm really looking forward to New Shepard finally launching. I don't know if we're going to get that this year or not. I don't know. We might have to wait till next year, but it's just kind of a toss-up at this point. But yes, definitely New Shepard, because that thing is New Shepard, and also New Glenn as well. New Glenn is what I meant. Sorry, New Glenn. Seeing that, because being in Blue Origin and seeing the size of those fairings, I can tell you right now that rocket is going to be massive, absolutely massive.
The pad didn't tell you that?
Huh?
The pad size didn't tell you that?
No, the actually seeing the size of the fairings with my own eyes told me that.
Now, what about Artemis 1?
I'm not holding my breath for that.
What's that?
I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I think with the current in the transition between the current administration and the next administration, I think Artemis is going
losing our boy Jim.
We're going to lose our boy Jim, and I think that Artemis is going to be pushed back at least until 2026, if not 28. That's just kind of halfway insider information. But that seems about accurate. That they're gonna. The Trump administration has been pushing really hard for Artemis, and maybe pushing in the wrong way, and the COVID didn't help very much. So.
No,
and yes,
slowed things down.
Zach, I did mean to say Glenn and not Shepard. I was confused all the time. I don't know why.
Because they were both awesome individuals.
This is true. Yes.
Yes, that's it right there. All right, Kyle, what are you looking forward to this year, brother?
Let's go with Vulcan. I really want to see the goddamn solids flag.
Yeah.
No offense to Falcon 9, but it's kind of a boring rocket, photography-wise.
It's the same.
Even as someone who likes to watch launches, it is kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. And we've been just deluged with Falcon 9 launches this year.
I won't say boring. It's repetitive, but not boring. Because
it's great to have the repetitiveness.
Even if the rocket, if you're photography-wise, you have to bring the creativity. You're not going to get credit for that's a creative photo because people haven't seen that rocket in 5 years. It's
but you could also make a lot of creative shots with the smoke trails and stuff that you cannot do with
absolutely
Yeah, you guys weren't here after the shuttle ended and it was nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's true. Like when ULA or someone launched a rocket once or twice a year, you're like, wow.
Yes,
that's what a rocket's like.
I've got to agree with Seth in the chat. I'm personally looking forward to Falcon Heavy launching. As much as I want to see a double landing, that's going to happen on drone ships, everything. But I really want to see it. I really want to see a Falcon Heavy launch because I've seen the Delta IV Heavy, which was of course amazing. But
Zach's got jokes in here.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to a Falcon Heavy.
It landed at a little bit higher velocity than the Falcon Heavy usually does.
Now, Vulcan's going to be a treat because we're going to be getting the mix of the orange and the blue flame. So that's going to be photography wise and capturing that. It's going to be quite the treat.
Nice.
And not immediately, but we will get some fleet action from that a little bit when they have to recover the smart reuse engines.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Derek, what you looking forward to this year? Probably Vulcan, right?
Vulcan. Like I said, Falcon Heavy is the one that I is most real to me.
Yeah.
Because Vulcan, we've seen flight hardware slowly being introduced to the Atlas.
Yeah, but you haven't seen final. Yeah, it doesn't feel real yet. Just like with that Celeste, what's that gonna look like, right?
I am very excited for it to actually happen, though.
Absolutely. Personally, I have a couple things I'm looking forward to this year. I will say, big fan of that Mars landing coming up in February.
Oh yeah.
So definitely going to be following that as closely as I can, given my schedule. And launch wise, I don't know. I'm always looking forward to the next Starship prototype launch. I like seeing that iterative process in action.
Oh yeah. Now, in the chat, Wayward is saying they're looking forward to the new Kennedy Space Center exhibit and seeing Delta II and Falcon 9 up close. Some bringing space down to the ground.
Are we getting a Falcon 9 anytime soon?
I'm
thought
not
we
sure
only did
about the
Delta II
Falcon 9,
schedules.
but she is right about the Delta 2. I mean, we are going to be getting Delta 2. That's going to be awesome. So I definitely agree with her on that one.
I've only heard rumors about the Falcon 9, but no solid.
Houston. I wonder if we're going to know when it's being raised.
Or like date.
We're going to be able to go to Kennedy for it happening.
Not sure yet. I don't know if are they going to have it like laying down? Are they going to have it standing up? Are they going to have the legs?
It's standing up. I think Tori said already.
There's not a lot of real estate left around there.
The Rocket Garden is pretty packed.
Yeah.
It is, yes, but for the Falcon 9 is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They could lay it on top of the Saturn.
It could lay on top of the Saturn. It would just nestle there.
Piggybacking on it.
Excellent. So, yeah, I mean, this next year, if things can get back to normal-ish, we might start seeing a lot of really cool stuff happening. I mean, yeah, there's some cool stuff planned, but a lot of the big stuff has been pushed back, like James Webb and things like that have been pushed back to the point where they're probably not happening until 2022, 23 at this point.
Yeah, like Michael Caine said, the rocket launch in the U.S. or rocket lab in the U.S.
Yeah, Wallops. Yeah, that's going to be a good one too.
That's going to be awesome. I'm actually, and as cheesy as this sounds, I'm kind of looking forward to the first paying customers, passengers going up on a SpaceX rocket to the International Space Station with Tom Cruise. I'm actually, as cheesy as it sounds, and it's not because it's Tom Cruise, it's because someone is able to pay to go to the International Space Station.
This guy right here?
That guy right there, possibly?
Yeah.
It's happened before, though.
There have been some paying to go up there
the first time.
from Russia.
There have been several,
from the commercial provider, the U.S. side of it. That'll be really good.
Yes, and the company that was doing it in Russia was actually connected to a U.S. company as well, Space.
Yeah, it's the same company that's doing it for Cruise.
Yeah, it's the same. They have experience doing this because there's been like
they're brokers though. They're brokers. They're not like a tourist agency of sorts. Not really the launchers themselves.
Yeah,
your new space travel agent.
Essentially, that's what they are. They're a space travel agent for the uber rich.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because they sent like Tito up there. They sent Garriott up there.
Yep.
Quite a few people have gone up. The guy from Cirque du Soleil, Guy La Liberté.
When we gonna have Uber rocket?
Once we get Starship, then we'll have
Starship is going to be the Uber rocket
option in Uber.
Uber just buys one Starship.
Uber buys.
Imagine taking Starship Earth to Earth to a different launch.
That'd be
wow.
Wow.
Oh, that belt. Well, if you never went out of orbit and just went to the other side or went to China or wherever, would it still do that crazy belly flop? Because that looks like it's gonna be one heck of a ride.
I think it will, no matter what. Considering it did it, it just went up a little bit.
Ugh.
They'd have to have rotating seats. They would have to.
Something. Put me in a gyroscope in there.
Yeah, I was about to say gyroscopically stabilized cabin, so it doesn't the rocket moves around it, but you don't feel anything.
They sedate everyone.
Hours.
What was that, Keeks?
There's just
Oh god.
What's happening? Dead air. I don't like this. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Both of y'all are trying to talk at the same time. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. All right. So we've gone over what our favorite stuff from last year is. We've gone over what our stuff we're looking forward to this year. So I don't know. What else is there to talk about?
All the launches we have coming up this week.
All the launches this week?
All the launches.
All right. So
we don't know.
Go down on that.
We got nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing coming up this week, launch wise. I haven't heard of any.
I mean, they might spring something on us, but we don't know if they're going to do that.
Yeah, we have.
I mean,
nothing.
I was going to say policy wise, there's nothing going to come out for the next 2 months, 3 months. So.
Turkset was initially scheduled for the 4th.
Yep.
And then that was removed, and then it was pushed back to the 6th. now that's looking like it's removed. So it looks like this week. We don't know when the first launch of 2021 will be yet.
Yeah. Now the Transporter
Let's just go
1
buy some model
mission,
rockets.
Transporter 1 is looking like January 14th, as far as I'm aware, but that's also no time or anything like that. So
Yeah.
and especially with Turksat, who knows?
Yeah, SpaceX is definitely looking to pick up the cadence from last year, so they want to launch even more. Which, as we saw in 2020, that was very possible with them. They were able to, recover really quickly. So if they're wanting to double the numbers, that's definitely going to be possible for them because they now see that they could do that. So.
And Hunter did point out, yes, the Virgin Orbit launch on January 10th, Sunday, January 10th at 1 p.m. is the next launch that we have an actual time looking at.
Yep. So
Zach posted about the SLS. If it goes this year, it'd be awesome, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I want to see those solid. It's just
It'll go, but not under its own power. Let's be on the crawler.
it'll go out there and hang out.
We have a question here from Matt on Facebook, and he's saying where the remains of SN8 will be displayed. We don't know. We are seeing that they are building some kind of a pad by the RV area there at Boca Chica. So we don't know if that's where that's going to be displayed. We don't know if they're actually doing a full-scale Starship mock-up display there. We don't know. We don't have a whole lot of information as far as Boca Chica goes. So at this time, as far as the SN8 remains, we don't know. I do know that they were talking about wanting to save them, which I really hope that they do. But at this time, we don't have an answer for you, unfortunately.
I forget the name of the investor, but at least...
let's verify that, but Hunter said in the chat SN8 nose was crushed about an hour ago.
It's a lot of good stainless steel you can reuse.
It's true story.
Recycle, reuse.
And honestly, SpaceX is not into saving their stuff other than their absolute first, very impressive.
Yeah, Grasshopper
bursts.
now just has cameras all over it.
Yeah,
I had
it's rusting in a field, bro.
Well, no, it's right next to the pad.
Oh man! So for last time I heard that they were going to be saving it, but I guess from Hunter saying he just watched them crush it. So
watched it live on Lab Padre. Wow. Yeah. So I had not seen that yet. So
we'll be shaving with that in just a few weeks.
I want a piece of it. I want a piece of that nose cone.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what they
out there with a Dremel grab piece.
I'm sure SpaceX would absolutely love that. They'd be very accommodating to share pieces of it.
Well, to their employees, they like to do that.
Well, yeah, the one investor was going out and taking big pieces at one point. I think we had video of them doing that.
Man, oh man. Well,
excellent.
Well, that's I'll have to go check that out later. Then apparently.
Yeah, that's something I have to look at.
Yeah, I'd have to check that out as well. All right, so what else do we got to talk about today, guys?
Well, I think Eagle was going to. We were talking about earlier about showing pictures of our favorite launches that we covered.
Absolutely.
So I think Eagle had that pulled up here for us.
Absolutely, it's show and tell time, guys.
There we go. I guess we're starting off with my. Earlier, I talked about my remote, so I had this focus troll that followed me around for the longest time, and I could never get a sharp image. Well, finally, as you can see here on your screen, I finally was able to get something good. And what I really like about this picture is the fact that you can see the SpaceX logo on it. Grid fins almost. If I would have been zoomed out,
you see all that paint flaking off.
Yeah, right?
No, it's ice.
Paint flaking off.
Yeah, so this is definitely my favorite picture of 2020 as far as launches go. It was definitely one of my best.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful shot. One day I'll get a remote camera, maybe Transporter 1.
That's
all right.
How do I stop this?
All right, what's next?
Oh, I have to go.
You can use arrow keys, I think.
For some reason, I got 3 monitors, and the stop share was on a completely different monitor, which made no sense. Why isn't it on the one that I'm sharing? Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. We love it. We hate it.
Yeah. It saved the world during the pandemic.
So who's got the next picture? Or was that?
That was the only one someone gave me to put up.
Yeah,
what are you telling? Okay.
I don't think we have
excellent. So Yeah, I don't. I
Well,
don't
there's
have
the-
any pictures.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
Awesome.
Everything
We'll
I'd
have-
want to show is that random the random thing I uploaded to your smug mug, Derek.
all right.
But we can't pull that up without showing the link to it. Really.
Oh yeah.
That's all right. We'll take care of that then.
Yeah. So
Have
I
you
mean,
got
if you
that?
could,
If you can screen share that, if you want.
Which one? Where's it at? Where-
Kyle, do you want to share which one of your photos?
I should not do that. I barely have reception.
Which
I was
one
cutting
of
out at
them?
one point. Oh, I don't know. Just pick one. Well, I guess do the one with the people. That's the one that's most significant, I guess.
The
Okay,
one with
the boat photo with the launch. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
the employees watching their own rocket go up.
Yeah. Got it. There we go. It should be.
That's
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
pretty sure that was a previously phoned booster, so they recovered that at least once. So I think it was Starlink 6 or so.
and what's great about this picture, this is the first time that anybody's ever seen anybody actually on top of the boat like this, and then you see people are in the lifts as well, watching the launch. I've never seen that before. So when you posted,
Yeah, and
this
I
picture,
didn't. This is also when Just Read the Instructions was being worked on, and you remember they had those the things where the legs or the what are they called? The thrusters were being worked on, and they had the scaffolding and everything. People were on top of the scaffolding too.
yeah, that's really cool.
That's
I
awesome.
like these guys in the buckets though. They're just-
Yeah,
In the bucket, just chilling.
Watching the launch, that's really cool. They're definitely different.
I
Perspective.
wonder if they got high enough that you could actually see it initial liftoff.
Probably could. I mean,
Yeah,
Well, I know there's that tower on the left. The left.
Exploit.
And I've been up. You'll see some antennas up there. I've been there. Hey, you can see. I'd love to take a photo up there, but I don't want to drag my equipment 250 feet.
Up GoPro to your head.
Yeah, but it's not going to be. Not going to get a good zoom in. If I had the 600 millimeter up there, that'd be pretty sweet.
mm-hmm.
Or I'd just go to the press site.
Or you could just go to the press site. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be a
there's
different different shot.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other photos on here.
that. Yeah,
There's even
I sent an NRAL 44 photo. It should be at the end of there.
Why did I just said bird pictures?
No.
Man. Like,
It's not showing up yet. You might
I
have to
upload some
refresh
cat
that.
pictures of that. I have cat pictures randomly.
Yeah. NRAL 44 and NRAL 101 would be my favorites. But
I don't know who put the birds in here.
I don't know, man. I don't know where
I
those
think
came
that
from.
was Matt. You set up a few that were not.
The
Yeah,
only
that's so
bird I
weird,
put,
like,
Wait,
The
you
only
said
bird
they
I
were
put in there is a plane.
pelicans.
Rocket birds.
I
Those-
meant
those
to
are
say
my bird
bird.
is
Sandhill
the
cranes.
arrow, or not the.
Yes, sandhill crane.
My bird is the Antares, and Super Guppy.
yeah, all the birds. Even there's a bird there. Random bird.
I love that
Gotta
you got
have a
other
bird in
remote
the
cameras
shot.
in that shot, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys down here are real close.
Yeah.
They have no desire to save their equipment, I guess.
I
At
was
Derek.
so that photo, that one's from Mars 2020. I was significantly closer. Y'all can see my cursor. I was
I
right
was closer
over
than you
here.
were. My lenses survived.
I was also just unlucky. That area was an unlucky area.
Yeah. I've heard from the past not to get too close to the flame trench. I've
No, you don't
had
wanna-
an Atlas throw my camera before, so
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that, dude.
cameras.
That was awesome.
I was staked down 4 locations. I had my tripod pretty secure, but yeah.
through my box.
Anything else interesting in here someone want to talk about that they took photo of? I mean, we're talking about heavy.
Yeah, that has to be one of my favorites, just because that's the amount of detail we were able to get being 1.6 miles, and then the flame not being as crazy bright. I was able to have the vehicle and the flame showing up there, and I mean, same for the video that I have in the intro. Video is my focus and my favorite bit, but yeah, just the amount of detail you could see and the lack of delay of the sound reaching from that launch was just mind
Oh
blowing.
yeah, I mean that close. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're so used to, I mean, a reasonable delay, and then directly next to the profile picture is my NRAL 101 shot. That's from my remote up near the tank, and I
Shooting
was
through the
so happy
cables.
with how that turned out. I had no clue what I was doing settings wise, and I got so much advice to have that set up
Mhm.
as I wanted. So
That came out great.
It's beautiful, man.
Sure, be better than my first remote shot.
Zach.
Zach,
Yeah, that was a good shot. Yeah, Zach
now
shot.
here
Here.
tonight, he has some amazing shots between those aerial shots from booster return. I think 2020, as far as pictures and videos, was a great year. We have so much coming up. This is going to be a good year. This is going to be a good year.
Oh yeah. And then the next show will
Absolutely.
be more a structured show.
Yeah, we'll have a bit more of a structure.
We need some
for
space to
the
happen.
next show for
Absolutely.
the warm-up
Space needs
show?
to happen. This is kind of our warm-up show, just getting us out there so you know who we are. So when you see us talking about space, you know that we're not the news organization that's out there, maybe not proliferating the most accurate news that sometimes we see. So we do want to make sure that we're giving you the most accurate information. And if you see us messing up, call us out, man.
yeah.
Yep.
Now, I mean, next week,
Absolutely.
You can actually physically call us.
Yeah,
Just
physically
call
call us out. Absolutely.
Leave us a voicemail.
Leave us a
Yeah.
voicemail.
Yeah,
You
you gotta put
curse
that
me
back
out.
in
I
now.
don't care.
next week, with the Virgin Orbit launch happening, we'll be able to be talking about that. We'll go into a bit more detail. We can do a recap of all that, and hopefully we'll have a better idea of what all is happening this month, that we can get that schedule.
Yeah,
worked out.
really get
That's
that
good.
schedule out to you.
We do have a question here from Matt on the Facebook page, is asking how close were our remotes? Like how close do we put our remotes for these launches? That's a good question.
So it varies a good bit.
yeah, very. They
Um,
give us a lot of opportunities to put up our cameras in different areas. So
You can pull up maps and basically show them for the pad.
So
Like
I
Google
can,
Maps.
I'll just say, for instance, 39A, the most recent launch, we in NRAL 108, our remotes, we weren't able to be inside the fence, so we ranged from, I believe it was about 0.35 miles to like half a mile ish. And
SpaceX doesn't like letting people inside the fence.
they let us
Yeah.
in for crew one. For crew one, we were inside the fence.
And but then NRAL 101, when we set remotes there, we were let inside at the, or for NRAL 101, that was 41, and we were inside the fence there. So I think I measured it out. My remote was a little over 300 feet away from the rocket.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think that's what he was asking.
And I think mine was closer than that.
Yours was like 15 feet closer. We were pretty close.
No.
Mine was also technically closer to the flames, even though yours somehow got inverted
you
more.
moved it closer to the flame trench than I did. I tried to keep it to the side to keep my stuff safer.
I think there was only one or two people with cameras closer than I was.
Yeah, there's a nice lineup there. So CRS 21 was inside the fence. So
Or which one are we talking about? Where do I want to zoom in on?
if you want to pull up 39A, since that has a variety
Oh.
of locations.
Yeah, there's a couple of spots. 39, I'll be honest, 39 is not exactly my favorite pad to set remotes, just because there's not really like they give us variety, but at the same time, it's not, it's just not my favorite pad. I don't know. Like,
Well, now you got it down here in this field, next to the little processing facility there.
Now, it may not be a competition, but I want accuracy. I don't want Kyle to mislead how close his remote was compared to mine.
All right, it should be sharing now.
there we go.
Yeah.
So the outside perimeter would probably be the outside fence.
Down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's one of the areas that
So
they
you get to go
You basically set up on the crawler way.
Yeah,
That was most recent.
in the field a little bit. I don't know how
Yep.
far. I don't remember.
Yeah, they won't let you go too far into the grass, pretty much on the crawler way or in the grass right there by the road. So you see the grass section there in the middle is where usually a lot of people will set up their remotes. And a lot of people like to sit up there because you get the that SpaceX. So if you watch the intro, the smoke is where that was set up. So you see the SpaceX logo on the building. A lot of people like getting that shot.
Now, where's the other one? It's this field over here, right?
Yeah, it's right inside that
Yeah,
little
that
circle.
dirt loop.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
And
it's
then
close.
And then there's another one alongside the road by the beach.
Yes. Yep. So if you go down that
Up here.
Yeah, no.
So,
It's
Further up?
it's literally just the side of the road.
yeah.
So I wouldn't
Oh,
be able
yeah,
to
that's
point out the
right.
exact location there.
I don't know.
And I'm not
not
familiar
sure.
with the locations inside the pad either.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those areas though, alongside that road where you're zooming in on. I know it's a little bit
Hey,
further
look, there's
down.
a tour bus.
There is a tour bus.
Right there.
But yeah, so those are the three locations that they do. As certain launches, they'll let us actually be inside the fence, and we can actually set up on the. There's, I believe it's 4 photography mounds that are all around 39A. They have all the actual like NASA cameras and stuff like that on it, so they'll let us put our cameras on those mounds.
So yeah, you can get up close. Enough for people like melted lenses and stuff. So
Yep. I think the closest pad we're able to get to is the Atlas pad, which is 40 and
Yeah.
41. The 2 pads we're actually able to get really close for.
40,
Yeah, so-
41.
Yeah,
41.
41. If you want to go to 41, that'll give us a...
Yeah, because you can get down this like out here. You can get up real close.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were all
When you see
inside
people's
the
photos.
fence during NROL 101. So if you want to zoom in a bit more so the circle fills the screen.
Yeah, you can get in there.
So like, you guys won't be able to see it, but the stream will. So people were setting up all along here. We had the actual banner was down here. So there were lots of people that set up in this area. The flame trench is over here. So that's where Kyle's camera is, and mine was right about there. So they're really close.
Yeah, we've had a few people lost the lens
Yeah,
from that launch.
those solids. Those
Yeah.
new solids.
Yeah, new solids are something else.
And yeah, those are the ones that are going to be on the Vulcan, right?
Yes, that was the first test of the GEM 63, is it? Or 53?
63.
63.
Jim 63.
So that stands for the
Excellent.
graphite epoxy motor.
Yeah, graphite epoxy motor. So basically, if you've watched these videos of doing people doing epoxy molds of like for arts and crafts, they always pop up on my Facebook for some reason. But if you see that, that's actually the same process that they're using more or less to build these solids. Is that they are putting the mold, which is the rocket skin, and then they fill it with an epoxy that's a graphite epoxy is what's burning. So pretty interesting stuff. All right. So 2021 is upon us. 2020 has finally died the flaming death it deserved. And we are on to bigger and better things. So I would like to hear from y'all, inclusive of the audience and of everyone who is here on the stream. What do you predict is going to happen in spaceflight for 2021? All right. Let's start with Mr. Keeks.
Well, hopefully you can see a successful Starship land.
Successful Starship?
Yes.
All right.
I predict
That's
that's
what I'm
gonna
really
happen.
excited about. I mean, that's like
I'll
the newest
add to
thing
that.
going on right now.
Not just successful Starship land. I want to see successful orbital Starship land. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
I don't know if that'll be this year, but I don't know. He's pretty.
I'll use a SpaceX timeline.
gung-ho.
It's happening this year.
Yeah.
Whether it happens or not, it's happening this year.
That'd be pretty sweet. Better have a lot of cameras on the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
like
They have a ton of cameras on the Falcon 9. You just don't see a lot of those views. There are cameras on every single conceivable place they can put a camera on that rocket. There is one.
Yeah,
That's
SpaceX
part of
is
their
one-
process. They like to see everything that's happening in the rocket as it's happening. So, all right. So,
Super heavy stack?
let's
I
see,
don't think
Kyle.
that's
What's happening this year, man?
Vulcan flies
Yes, he's down with the Vulcan.
Vulcan's gonna fly. All right.
with them solids.
Mhm.
Yeah. Excellent. How about you, Mr. Cutshaw?
Well, we've covered the Vulcan, we've covered SLS and all the other ones. I'm gonna talk about two that nobody's really talking about that I'm actually personally excited about, just because they are a smaller launch provider, and that's going to be Firefly and Rivetility. Now, both of these places have pads here at the Cape, so there's a possibility. Hopefully, we'll be able to put remotes down for them. Now, you're talking about rockets that are about the same size as Rocket Lab, about Electron. They're smaller scale rockets. But they will be launching, small sat payloads into orbit, and I'm pretty excited about that too.
Excellent. All right, and me personally, I'm gonna go out there and say SpaceX is going to launch a Falcon 9 35 times this year. I'm gonna say 35 times. They're gonna get 35 launches this year.
Okay.
I
thought you were joking, saying 35 launches of an individual booster. Okay, 35 Falcon 9 launches. I was like,
They're
wait,
probably
wait,
like
wait,
10
wait. That'd be insane.
Falcon 9 launches. I think they are going to get at least one booster to 11 or 12 launches this year.
I think
Cool.
they'll
Yeah.
easily cross the double. I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to get like 15.
Yeah, I mean, they
I
have
think they can
I
do
can
it.
see a
boosters
50
that are
each.
sevens.
Absolutely, and that's what's great about having Starlink, is that gives them an opportunity to launch as much as they want to, because they have to do that for Starlink.
Yep.
And what's really causing all the hiccups is like the weather problems that we've been having, and there were
Guilty
some
boys.
engine problems, and it happens, man. And then my other thing I was going to predict for this year, Percy's mic, Perseverance, going to be landing on Mars. It does have 3 microphones that will be able to for the first time catch the sound of Mars, and I'm predicting that sound is going to be Tiny Tim singing "Tiptoe Through the Tulips" on repeat. That's all we're going to hear.
Now in the chat we have Wayward saying launch scrubs, and Matthew saying we'll see the. And we have Matthew Cable saying we'll see the first Starship Super Heavy stack.
Ooh, that's.
Yep, and of course Matt here on the Facebook side just said the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, SpaceX has got their hands in so many pots right now. I'm hoping they're able to handle it. They seem to be handling it pretty well.
They got a good team.
They really do, and they seem to have a laser focus that a lot of organizations start to lack when they're in that part of the product development cycle. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they come up with next.
Yeah, I think doing too much prediction on how far SpaceX will make it's fool's play to try to say it's one test can go dramatically better than planned, one test can go dramatically worse than planned, and the timeline just changed by 3 years. But
absolutely,
it's they've done well. I was impressed with SN8, so I'm looking forward to seeing what.
Well, originally, I'm pretty sure they said it was going to be orbital like 2 years ago. So
yeah, well,
Elon time slides a little bit.
I'm looking forward to seeing what
time is on a
happens.
slip and slide.
He's done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They've been granted
program.
like with the money they've been granted for Starlink, for the rural internet access and all that. Hopefully they'll have maybe a more consistent cash flow if they start opening up that beta to more. I haven't been following the Starlink beta very specifically because I knew they were in the private beta. Are they reaching the more public sections of the beta, or are they just slowly?
It's all over Facebook and Reddit. I know that. So
yeah,
it's public.
But I mean,
you can actually go out you yourself and purchase a disc or a dish right now.
All right.
Yeah, you just can't get the service of being in the actual program, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the more public they're going, the more consistent an income, regardless of launches, they're getting. So hopefully they'll be able to use that.
One issue I've heard is apparently they'll melt the ice, and then the ice, they're like the snow, because it heats on the top. then the icicles will form on the bottom and like become heavy.
No,
So I've heard about
they
that
just
happening
wanna
up in
turn.
Canada and such.
That would be. Yeah. Now Michael Caine saying how many launches until a more intensive refurbishment is needed.
10.
That's it's scheduled for 10. I think they're
We
going to
don't know
kind
how
of
much they've
play
been doing
that
this
by
whole
ear.
time. They could be doing a lot this whole time. We wouldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean, as
Well-
quick as they're able to turn some of these rockets around, they're not having to do a whole heck of a lot.
Right, but
Yeah, but they
Elon
also let
stated
fluid
he
in.
wanted to do 10 for refurbishments and then launch the boosters every the life of the Falcon 9. He's saying it's supposed to be 100 launches. With
Yeah, 100 launches in the Block 5
refurbishment
configuration.
every 10. But as far as we know,
And
they're
what level
already
is that
refurbishing.
refurbishment?
We don't know.
I wouldn't be
That's the thing.
surprised if they are doing very minimal. They're gonna take the first one to reach 10 apart completely, look through, say,
Right.
yeah, we really don't need much refurbishment.
Right.
Go to 15. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that sort of thing.
So
Yeah,
anybody
absolutely.
who's been here for a booster return or has been close to these boosters, you can see the lines, the grid lines.
Yeah.
Now, what people have often asked, what are those lines about? Well, those lines, those are inspections. Those are the stir welds. They're actually inspecting those stir welds for any like hairline cracks or anything like that. That's going to be very important because if there's a hairline crack on that booster, guess what? Booster go boom boom. So
Absolutely.
they want to make sure that they get any kind of issue that would be, make sure that they catch it. So
Mhm.
And so how long do you all think it will be until Starlink expands either out of beta or into Florida?
As long as possible for my job. Stay out of
Absolutely.
Florida for
Well,
a couple more years, please.
As I continue to say, and I'm going to say it again and again, people like us, you and I, and people who have a reliable internet connection that they use on a daily basis,
You're not going to want it.
we are not the people who Starlink
Absolutely.
is for. Starlink is for people who live in the mountains in Colorado and have to pay Hughes $400 a month for horrible
For
internet.
a
but that's-
600 ping.
It isn't.
Yeah,
let's be real. It's not for us for our homes. It's more for us on location doing
Yeah,
rocket
on
launch
location.
live streams. That's what it's
that's
for.
more
That's an
important. Yes,
expensive
I'll agree with that.
live
That,
stream
that's an
equipment.
expense. Yeah, it'd be expensive, but
I
It's
think
I'm
we're
sure
better off
that
when
many
5G starts getting more relative around
Yeah,
here.
well, if
I'm
you
sure
live in a
that
place
Bill
where
Texas
5G
will
is
love
going to be happening quickly, then it's not for you. But for people who live in, the savannas in Africa, or people who live up in the mountains, or people who are doing research, or firefighters who are fighting fires out in rural areas, that is the primary consumer of Starlink for the time being. Now, I think it'll come out of that closed beta style and more into an open thing, probably when they reach about 2,000 satellites.
yeah, I mean, I've got to say, as there are many issues that have been addressed extensively with Starlinks, whether it's the initial problems with light pollution, just as in looking at the sky, versus the actual astronomical, like the imaging,
Yeah.
but overall, I think this will be such a dramatic help for the people that really need it. Not for people like us. This will be so good, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, because if
To
you live
people
in,
being
you
able
live
to
in,
avoid that.
you live in
massive
Florida,
cost.
you have fiber connection or cable, and then you get Starlink, and every time it rains, you're gonna be like watching Netflix, and it starts buffering. You're gonna be pretty mad that
Exactly.
you decided to invest all that money and switch over.
Exactly.
Now,
'Cause,
But I mean, it's Starlink. I'm up for anything that monetizes space in such a way that it begins to pay for itself and becomes its own, like the way economists kind of think about like the global economy is, you have your terrestrial economy, and then you have a low Earth orbit economy and a middle Earth orbit economy. And finally, you have like what will eventually become like the Earth Moon economy. So we're at the phase now where low Earth is, up until this point, has required a lot of infrastructure investment. Say.
what about Middle Earth?
Now the middle Earth orbit, if you will. Thank you, Frodo.
Sorry,
with
isn't
the
there a
ring.
joke?
Yeah,
I'm out.
thanks, bro. No, that middle Earth orbit is actually kind of dominated right now by the geosynchronous satellites. Geosynchronous, it kind of pays for itself, but once again, you had to have that investment at the beginning from countries putting billions of dollars into developing these rockets. Now we're at a point where the rockets are cheap and getting to orbit's becoming cheaper and cheaper. And once it becomes cheap enough, low Earth orbit is going to become highly commercialized, and it won't require that investment from the government. And that's when we will have a fully fledged low Earth orbit economy. And the National Space Foundation and the National Space Council, they've actually started gearing up toward that as a goal. We want the economy of low Earth orbit to be separate from national economy, because there comes a point where the nation can't really throw a whole lot of money into that if we want to move beyond.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that the way Starlink is being done, it necessitates that in order to facilitate the markets where you will earn money, you have to cover basically all markets. And so it's the fact that it necessitates that it's able to offset the cost. It's not like it's not going to cost them that much more to enable the service in a different location where they won't earn as much money. And so I love the way that it's working. Now,
I wonder how the government approvals in other countries.
Now, yes,
that's how that's going to go for them. Like when they try to get into Russia, I wonder what if they're going to be like China. They're going to be like, nope, you ain't coming in here.
No, I'm curious. What if
there will be the black market?
You want to put open internet
for the service in the U.S. and like because they're being used on boats, or they are on boats to be used on boats. You buy the service in the U.S. You get the thing delivered to a U.S. address. What if you move over to somewhere where the satellites cover but isn't in their operating area? Like, what happens
currently then? Currently, they don't work on boats because it needs to go to ground stations. It needs to go satellite to satellite before it works on boats, unless you do some complicated caching system.
Yeah, we've seen them on
you
the
could theoretically cache and just have a really high ping, and
they're not going very far.
Like use email and stuff. Like would be viable for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, he said you see them on the drone ships, but we don't know if they're actually using them out at sea or only using them when they're at dock.
Yeah. Now, I'm speaking of the government's regulation there. I'm somewhat curious, just in the general realm of space satellites, how many satellites are redundant, completely doing the same task, but whatever government it is just keeping that task secret. And if there had been cooperation, would those satellites?
I'd say there's
necessary?
I'd say there's at least a dozen satellites that are all listening for the same stuff.
Yeah, and it's more than that. Anything launched by governments, you can guarantee a third of it is redundant and is the same information being sought by different countries.
It's like
it's gonna be interesting.
That's interesting.
I'd be interested if all that classified information was somehow accessible. Like that's
we're talking about this. So we're talking about this right now, and just read the instructions is about to depart.
Just read the instructions is about to depart. Okay, so
that's a good sign.
So we're looking at a launch possibly later on this week for Turksat. So we might still be looking at
the landing location for this specific launch and how long it would take to get there.
Like the downrange location, that I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's probably 2 or 3 days. It's pretty consistent with that amount. Like,
excellent.
Unless it's a low energy mission and it's like right off the coast, it's pretty much always the same vague distance out there.
Yeah, what roughly 300 nautical miles.
Yep, they're getting it ready to leave right now.
Good to know.
Excellent.
And
so we will have a launch hopefully to talk about next week, and
hopefully we'll have two.
I would love to
one local,
as many as we can have, man. As many as we can have. Access to space is one of the most important things that humans have developed, and we need to cherish that and make it happen as much as possible.
Yes, and we have Doug in the chat saying space tourism is the future of making access to space affordable, convenient, and common. And I mean that absolutely
100% agree. That's why I'm looking forward to see Tom Cruise go to space, and that's why I'm looking forward to see Axiom develop the International Space Station. They've actually leased a port. Oh yeah. Excellent.
We're gonna be DCMA now.
Excellent.
Yeah, don't get us copyright claimed.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
absolutely. Don't do that. Don't do that. But anyway, I mean, Axiom has leased one of the ports on the Harmony module and will be developing its own space station capabilities using the International Space Station as a basis for testing and making sure it works. So that's really exciting, and that's going to be coming up in a couple of years. So I'm super excited about that.
And
Now, I think
we have the Nanoracks airlock that is now up there and in place.
absolutely.
And so, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. And so, for the people who are not super familiar, the way that that's working, it isn't directly open out to space. It's not able to be loaded and then immediately ejected. It is, I forget exactly which adapter it's connected to and everything, but it's connected to the space station. Once it's loaded, that is closed off, and then it's actually taken off the space station by the Canada arm in order for it to eject whatever is, or in order for whatever
Yeah,
is in there to be released.
As far as I know, the Bishop airlock uses the exact same connector the Canadarm uses, like the little point that it connects to.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like it just connects to one of those little nodes.
Exactly. It's got like a little nub that the Canadarm grabs to, and it can actually be hooked to a truss, and the Canadarm can release itself from it. So it's able to be moved around. So it can be put out there and say they wanted this experiment to sit in zero gravity for exactly 24.7 hours or something ridiculous like that. They can set it out there and then bring it back and open it back up if they don't get that much usage out of the Bishop. Like they're supposed to get what, like five full cycles a year or something like that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but so it's connected to the Tranquility module,
Yes.
and it itself does not have a hatch. It connects to the berthing port in order to make use of it. So.
Yes. Excellent. All right. So I think we have ourselves a show, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly gentlemen here, but you know how that is. We'll get more ladies. I love the ladies. Anyway, that's it from us here at Next Horizons Spaceflight. This has been the Rocket Buzz. Thank you very much for joining us, and a very special thank you to Jameson Boyce. He took care of the opening credits music for us. So we eternal thanks for that because that's probably the best 30-second song I've ever heard. Derek, would you roll us out, my man?
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.